Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in the laws of KASHRUS of Rabbi Yamin Forrest and talking about the idea of Gevinas Akum, the cheese that is made by the non-Jew. Someone who doesn't rely upon the heter, the leniency, shel achalav sheminisenu, where they rely upon the leniency that the milk that is made in our country, which is under the FDA standards, and therefore they would hold that you could drink it, and it wouldn't be really a violation so much of Chalav Yisrael. But they are rather, the person is more machmir, not like we said, leniency. They hold of the majority of the paiskim, the halachic authorities who hold that it's going to be asa. You're not allowed to drink the milk that even comes with FDA standards if you're holding of Chalav Yisrael. The same thing, then, you would not be able to eat cheese that is made by a non-Jew unless you already know that it was under hashkacha, under supervision of a Jew, from the time of the chaliva, the milking of the cow, until it gets into the process of the making of the cheese, and the entire process itself is under the watchful eye of the Jew. Yesh matirin hayom gvina v'hashkacha meis asiyasa asher mishas chaliva. There are those that permit to eat cheese that was made by the non-Jew, as long as there's hashkacha, as long as the Jew is watching over it at the time that it's being made, even if they didn't see the milk being milked at the time of the milking. But the Jew has to put the kevi, has to put in the stomach lining of the kosher animal inside of the milk that's congealing over here to turn into cheese. And that's called, the cheese is made through the Jew and not through a non-Jew. This is really only in a pressing time. Unfortunately, there are those that cannot afford to pay for the expensive kashrus that is needed in order to watch the milk from the time of chaliva, the time that it was milked. And therefore, we're relying upon this heter, this leniency over here, as a leniency to save money and the like, and call that cheese that is made by a Jew. However, says our force, these heterim, these leniencies are not so clear. If you want to be makel, you want to rely upon this, go and ask your local Orthodox rabbi. If in your house you don't have enough money to pay for a full Chalav Yisrael, then it would be permissible perhaps for a person to rely upon this heter, this leniency. And the final little paragraph here is Gevina Raza, which is thinned out cheese. Gevina Raza cottage cheese. V'chein Gevina Shmeina, or like milk fat or cheese fat, like cottage cheese, I guess we'll call, and cream cheese, and the Lebanon type of stuff that you can get from Eretz Yisrael, that's like a thick kind of a cheese spread, is a question whether or not Nichlalo B'Isra Gvinas Akum, is it included in the prohibition of cheese that is made by a non-Jew? And does a Jew have to be standing there watching it being made? Or maybe it's not included in the prohibition over here, and therefore you would not have to have a Jew standing around to watch. That's only if you are a makel, you are lenient when it comes to the butter of a non-Jew, as we described before, that it's impossible for butter to be made if there's going to be the milk of a non-kosher animal in there. So the same thing perhaps is by the cottage cheese or the cream cheese. It would not be able to be made if there's the milk of a non-kosher animal. But anyone that would be strict in the area of butter of a non-Jew, like we mentioned previously, you cannot be makel and lenient in this either. Meaning that if you're holding of Chalav Yisrael, and this is the way that it works practically in the world of Chalav Yisrael versus non-Chalav Yisrael today. If you are a person who abides by the halachic opinion that everything has to be Chalav Yisrael, so then everything you have is Chalav Yisrael. You go to the store today, Baruch Hashem, most people are living in areas where it's not so difficult to get Chalav Yisrael, and your milk, and your cheese, and your cottage cheese, and your yogurts, and your cream cheese, everything, and your butter, everything has the stamp of approval that it says Chalav Yisrael Mishas Chaliva, from the time that the milk was milked from the cow itself until Shas Asiyah, till it's being made, it's all under the supervision of a Jew, and therefore that's called Chalav Yisrael. If you hold of the Heter of Moshe Feinstein, which means that in a place, for example, like America, where the FDA has put so many restrictions on the milk companies that they're under their watchful eye constantly, and therefore it's impossible or nearly impossible that they would ever insert non-kosher milk into their dairy. So meaning milk from a non-kosher animal. So therefore you're allowed to drink that milk, and if you're allowed to drink that milk, you'd be allowed to eat the cheese that was coming from that milk as well, as long as there's some kind of a supervision to make sure that they didn't add any not kosher products into the cheese. So those are the two camps, Chalav Yisrael versus non-Chalav Yisrael, and based on where you are holding in your life of your levels of Yiddishkeit and orthodoxy will determine greatly how you're going to keep these halachas. If you have any questions, it's worthwhile to sit down and have a conversation with your local Orthodox rabbi, your Rabbi, the Rav of your shul, whoever it is that you turn to for these things, and make decisions of whether or not you are a Chalav Yisrael person or not a Chalav Yisrael person. Is it something you should strive for? If it's not, you're not holding there right now, should it be something to strive for later on in life? Yes or no? Ask your local Rav, your Rebbe, whoever you speak to, and make good decisions in the world of KASHRUS. Have a wonderful day. We will begin Be'ez Hashem, the next chapter, which is going to get into Tevilas Kelim, which is the immersion of the utensils and the vessels and the pots and pans that one uses in the mikvah, why we do it, and how we fulfill that halacha. Have a wonderful day.